Okay, so make sure you're on the congruent triangles re-quiz 2. And if you look at this one here, they're overlapping. So if you see this triangle, you can think of that being pulled away. And then you see this triangle, and you can picture this being pulled away, but they can also be put back together. Whoops, try that again. Like that. So you can see right away they share side AB at the top right here. So it says, what additional information is needed to prove these triangles congruent using SSS? That's important. So right now they've only given us one side. They've only said that this is equal to this. So that's an S. But we just talked about when I showed you pulling them apart and putting them back together, that they share the top. There's a reflexive side at the top. So there's the second S, which means the only part that you need to prove them side-side-side congruence is this is congruent to this. So that to make it side-side-side, you need to know that AC is congruent to BE. Then you'd have side-side-side. Number 2, what type of congruence exists between these two triangles? Boom. Let me get a better color. Boom, boom, boom. Side, angle, side. Question 3. Given triangle HJK, what side is included between? Side between H and K. The side between H and K is side HK. Then we have a fill-in-the-blank proof here. Given that the top is parallel to the bottom. So whenever I have parallel, I like to extend them and make 8th grade parallel lines because they jump out at you and remind you that they're parallel. And don't forget we have a transversal probably coming through here, right? And then WX and YZ. So they're saying the top is also equal to the bottom. Not only parallel, but also equal. So there's the two givens. They're both in one line. Then it marked the reflexive for us, and it gave us reflexive. That's only side, side, though. It then says angle XWY, which is right here, and ZYW, which is right here. And that's because parallel lines imply two congruent angles, in this case alternate interior. And now the triangles are congruent to each other because boom, boom, boom. Side, angle, side. And these are the answers to 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are really 3 and 4 in the proof. Kind of confusing. All right. 6 and 7, name all congruent parts. And then it says, are the triangles congruent? Well, let's see. I know that TU, can't make a U. Let's try that again. There we go. TU is congruent to VU. Okay. I know that TW is marked the same as YW. But I also know that there's a reflexive in the middle. So UW is congruent to itself. So there's the three sides. So yes, they are congruent because of SSS. And if it wants all the congruent sides, at that point I would just add the other three parts, which are the three angles. I think it's easier to do this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm going to say angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. And these two actually have letters I can use. Angle T is congruent to angle V. There's all 6 parts. Number 7, I have a 90-degree angle at R, and I have a 90-degree angle at T. So those two are congruent. I have angle Q being marked the same as angle W, and I have nothing else. There's no reflexive because nothing's touching. There's no vertical because there's no crossing. There is no other information given, so that's all I have. So at this point, I have no reason to think they're congruent. They're just not congruent because all I have is an AA, and that is not enough. All right, on to the next sheet, congruent triangles, quiz number 3. Let's draw and make the diagram. So if WXY is in the same order as DEF, I chose to draw them like that. If they gave me, right, the given, angle X being congruent to E, and angle Y being congruent to F, and they want me to use ASA, I must need to know this side in the middle. So what's the missing part? The missing part for ASA would be XY is congruent to EF. That's the missing side right there. Because then I have angle side angle right there. I'm going to draw the next one. QRS, so I'm going to correspond that with KLM in the same order. They're going to tell me that RQ and LK are the same. So they're telling me RQ and LK. They're also telling me that angle R and angle L are congruent. But they want me to use angle, angle, side this time. So in order to go angle, angle, side, I need 2 angles in a row. So I would have needed this, this, and this. This, this, and this. So I must be looking for angle S being congruent to angle M, because then I would have angle, angle, side. And down here at the bottom, write a congruent statement and a reason. So let's see. Do I have enough information here? Well, I have vertical. And if I have vertical, then I have angle, angle, side. So yes, I'm good. So triangle ABC is congruent to triangle EDC because of angle, angle, side. That's what it's asking for. Number 4. I don't need anything else. Angle, side, angle. Angle, side, angle. So I have triangle, I'll call it TUV. And if I do that, it would be WXY. And that's because of angle, side, angle. So number 5, let's see what I have here. I'm given an angle, and a side. I have to go that way because if I don't go that way and I go this way, I end up skipping 2, this one and that angle. So it's going to be yes by angle, angle, side. What are the triangles? I'm going to say IKL and GHI. Number 6, I have vertical in the middle. So if I have vertical in the middle, I have angle, side, angle. So I'm going to call the first one PQR. And if I do that, I'm going to call the other one TSR by angle, side, angle. And let's see this one here. I have 2 angles given. I also know that I have vertical here. Doesn't seem to be anything about sides talked about. So I just have 3 angles, but there is no such thing as angle, angle, angle. That comes up in the next unit, maybe in January, for a whole different topic, but you can't, 3 angles being the same as 3 other angles doesn't mean the triangles couldn't be bigger or smaller, so that doesn't work. So here, they are not necessarily congruent. There's not enough information, even though I have 3 angles. And this one here looks like I have reflexive. We haven't talked a lot about this, but I have a 90, and then I have a hypotenuse and a leg. So this one is congruent because of HL. And I'm going to say triangle WXZ on the bottom and triangle ZYW on the top. And that's because of the hypotenuse leg theorem. 90 degrees, a hypotenuse is marked, and one of the legs. Grab a piece of blank paper or the back of your packet or anywhere you have space and draw this. Push pause and draw this. So I wrote my givens down, and I'm going to go immediately mark the picture. It says AB and ED are parallel. Sort of marked, but I like to extend them. So that is parallel to that. And I'll draw one of the transversals going through here too. So 2 parallel lines and a transversal. I'm going to give you a hint. Anytime you have parallel lines, you almost always have alternate interior angles. It's just usually how it works out. And it also says AE bisects BD. So AE is the bisector, BD is the thing being bisected. We don't know this or this. And then, of course, we have vertical in the middle. So let's see what we have here. I don't have any congruences yet. Nothing, no strikes. But I do know that angle A is congruent to angle E. Angle A is congruent to angle E because parallel lines lead to 2 congruent angles. So there's one. I also know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 because vertical angles lead to congruence. So there's 2. And also BC is congruent to DC. BC is congruent to DC because a bisector leads to 2 congruent segments. And there is strike 3. So if I go up to my picture, I have angle, angle, side. You look at the other way, angle, angle, side. So I'm going to prove the triangle's congruent. ABC is congruent to EDC because of angle, angle, side. Now, if a proof asked you, I didn't put this up here on purpose, if it said prove the 2 triangles congruent, you'd be done. But let's say you wanted to prove that AC was equal to EC. Well, now that you know that the triangles are congruent, you can say AC is congruent to EC, and that's because CPCTC. So it'll be something like that tomorrow.